Hi, I'm Debbie, or Dealer4519 on YouTube. For the story to be enlightening, I need to back up to when I was probably 6 or 7 and realized I didn't have a dad. And I would always ask, where's my dad? Now you have to back up and realize this would have been 1973, 4, 5. And my mom and everyone else would just tell me that he was in Vietnam. And of course, I didn't know what Vietnam was. And no, it never aired on our home television, ever. So all the video footage that everybody saw in the 70s, we didn't see, because my mom never wanted me to know what Vietnam was. Rightly so, I was way too young. And I never found it odd that I didn't have his last name, that I only had her last name. And now we're going to fast forward to when I was about 10. Some girls at the bus stop, older girls, they were waiting on a high school bus, asked me if I knew what a lesbian was. And I said, no, I don't know. Why would I know? And I thought, well, that's a word I need to go to school and look up. Yes, I'm going to run to school and look that up. Well, I didn't, and it's probably a good thing. So by the time I was 11 or so, I was putting together that my mother had never lived with a man, and she only dated one man that I knew of, and I was really young, and we went camping in a cabin, of course. I wasn't sleeping on the ground. And when this happened, I was really little, but I wanted to shoot a gun. So he put me in front of him and held the gun, but basically told me to go ahead and pull the trigger. Well, I don't know if I pulled the trigger or he pulled the trigger, but we both went into the tree behind us because it was definitely some kind of kickback off that gun. Well, whatever it is, it didn't sway me away from guns, but it taught me that at that age I didn't need one. And also on that trip, I fell, hit my knee on a rock, and cut it open. My mom pulled the skin together like a butterfly bandage. Well, so she was a medic in the Army from 59 to 63. So she really did exactly what they would have done in a field dressing. And so I guess that was good enough. And I do have a huge white scar there, but I healed. And once we got home, she started putting on this stuff. It was red. One of them was red, but they were methylate and mercurochrome. Now, if you don't know what those are, don't go rush out to buy them to put them on a cut. She would always use peroxide to clean out the wound, and then add those two things, which would dye my skin orange, or kind of an orangish red, and I wasn't a big fan. So I didn't complain too much about that because I didn't want her near me with those things. Anyway, let's skip forward. So now we know she had one boyfriend. I was young. I shot a gun. And the neighbors are telling me that my mother's a lesbian, which I didn't know what that was. Because again, I was in the 5th grade when that happened. So moving on with my story. Once 5th grade was over and rolled into 6th grade, and I had some friends, and I would sleep over at their house, or they could come sleep at my house. I had already figured out that my mother had to be gay. She had to be. There was too many other things. She kept a wallet in her back pocket and a short black comb. And her jeans, of course, she kept jeans forever because, Levi's were $30, $40 a pair back then, and you didn't buy very many of those. So, she'd wear the wallet into the back pocket. Even if it wasn't there, you could see where the wallet went. And even the little black comb. And I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. Most of my friends didn't know right away because they never saw her. You never saw her. She'd work and drink and come home and sleep, and that went on till 1981. Now, which of these things happened first, I don't know. But in the spring of 81, my mom started dating a crazy lady named Gail. Gail was psychotic. Decades later, all right, not quite decades, but God, I don't know, 15 years later, she was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic with manic depressive tendencies and drugged completely out of her mind most of the time. That she wasn't drunk or high by smoking marijuana. But that was not happening in 81. In 81, she was acting like she was an abused housewife, so my mother went and rescued her and moved her in with us. She was married. And she was not abused. Well, okay, she might have been abused. But after I lived with her for a few years, I can assure you she deserved far worse than anything he could have done to her. Am I bitter? Yes. She was not only psychotic, but she had the power to turn my mother against me. I don't really understand how she got that power, so it really doesn't matter, but she had it. And my hair's up, by the way, it's hot today. But anyway, so in 1981, I also met my friend named Kim. Now, Kim put up with a lot because we became best friends quickly. And they only lived like 3/4 of a mile down the road. And pretty much we were friends so long that we just did everything together. We went roller skating together. We walked to the dairy dip together. We walked to get ice cream together. We went to carnivals together because we wanted to. And of course, remember that still I had no parent. Well, I had a mother, but what I mean is I didn't have a parent watching me, telling me what to do. And I guess it started just one day. Kim was spending the night, and we were sound asleep. And they came home drunk, and Gail fell on the bed, and she hit her and hit me, and she was flailing, just acting like an idiot. And my mother would say, "Come on, get out of there. The girls are trying to sleep." Well, that went on one too many times. And one time I think she threw a stereo at me. I'd really have to go back to reflect on that. That would have been the summer of 81. Was it a stereo? Was it just the turntable? I don't know, but it hit the door because I was out the door. We heard that, and it opened the door. So anyway, lots of times police were called. I had been in and out of foster homes, well, from the end of my 6th grade year until March of my 9th grade year. Because the police would come, they would to look at me, tell me to gather some clothes, they'd take me to McDonald's, they'd feed me, take me to the police station, a social worker would pick me up, and they would find me a home for the weekend, and then a permanent placement. And we'd go to court. Every time we went to court, my mom said she didn't do these things. Well, she didn't. She absolutely didn't, but she allowed them to happen. And then, wait a minute. So this is the part of the story where I was abused and neglected. Neglected, yeah, it gets much worse. Wait till the next summer. But abused, no doubt. And so would my friend Kim. Eventually, we would call her sister, who was older than us by, 5 or 6 years, and she would come get us, pick us up, and take us to Kim's house to finish sleeping the night away. But I'm going to continue on with that story, because this is the part that really gets good, and the part that I hope no child ever has to live through. Ever. Bye.